Hello, a very good morning. Welcome to this morning's edition of the Mega News 6 News, coming to you live from our studios here on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, Nungwa, Adugono. My name is El Samuels. The headlines.
Mind your business. Ayawaso East NDC executives to majority. In business, we need payments, not assurances. Cocoa farmers to Cocoa Board. And on the international front, Ethiopia demands Eritrea immediately withdraw troops from its territory.
Now the news and details. The Ayawaso East constituency executives of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, have criticized the majority caucus of parliament over calls to annul the party's recent parliamentary primaries in the constituency.
The majority caucus, in a statement signed by its leader, Mahama Ayariga, cited allegations of vote buying and described the outcome of the primary won by former Ghana High Commissioner to Nigeria, Baba Jamal, as inconsistent with the party's agenda to reset Ghana's politics and restore integrity to the democratic process. However, speaking to Channel 1 News on Monday, February 9, Ayawaso East NDC Communications Officer Musa Ali dismissed the concerns raised by the caucus, insisting that the majority caucus should focus on matters in their respective constituencies and not meddle in the affairs of Ayawaso East.
To do it, but how do you, parliamentary candidate, how do you run ahead of the investigation and make conclusions that the election must be annulled? That is an insult to our integrity. That is an insult to the constituency executives and the delegates. The majority caucus are telling the whole wide world that the delegates couldn't think, the constituency executives couldn't think, and that we allowed ourselves to be bought before we elected that candidate. They must give us a proof. They must come with a proof that indeed one or two candidates bought our conscience before we went to vote. As the constituency stands now, none of the candidates bought our minds. None of them. It was only that the most popular candidate emerged. And if the most popular candidate in the person of Honorable Baba Jamal has emerged, what we need to do is that the victors must be magnanimous in victory, and then the losers must be patient in defeat. That's all. In elections, another day will come and the losing side will emerge. I remember in 2023, Baba Jamal lost against the same side. You understand? But he accepted it, congratulated everybody, and as we speak, all the candidates have called Baba Jamal and have congratulated him. So the question is, what is the problem of the majority caucus?
So you think that they're non-starter?
It's a non-starter. It's moot. On what basis? They have no locals. They must go to their various constituencies and focus. We are here. This is our jurisdiction. They don't know what happens here. They cannot draw conclusions on things that they have no knowledge about. The party, they are under the party. They must respect the party as we are respecting the party.
The President, John Dramani Mahama, has sworn in 5 new ambassadors to represent Ghana abroad, taxing them to immediately advance the country's economic interests on the global market.
The new envoys will serve in Saudi Arabia, the Republic of Mali, Cuba, and Malta. At the swearing-in ceremony, the president charged the ambassadors to pursue economic diplomacy to attract foreign investment. He underscored the role of diplomatic missions in strengthening bilateral relations and supporting national development priorities. As heads of mission, you are required to reflect this national research agenda by moving from passive representation to purposeful engagement, from routine reporting to proactive problem solving, and from presence to impact. Your mission plans must be firmly aligned with Ghana's development priorities, he urged.
Ghana's diplomacy will be judged not by its ceremony alone, but by results. Your work must translate into jobs, growth, opportunities, security, and measurable benefits for our people. You are expected to pursue economic diplomacy with urgency by attracting strategic investments expanding non-traditional exports, promoting tourism, facilitating innovation and technology transfer, and strengthening Ghana's competitiveness in global markets. Every partnership you build, every market you open, and every investor you attract must serve a broader national purpose. The government has embarked on a reset agenda grounded in integrity, efficiency, accountability, and results-driven governance. As heads of mission, you are required to reflect this national reset by moving from passive representation to purposeful engagement, from routine reporting to proactive problem-solving, and from presence to impact. Your mission plans must be firmly aligned with Ghana's development priorities.
Francis Kome, popularly known as Abutrika, has filed a lawsuit at the High Court against the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and other security agencies, claiming unlawful detention and violation of its fundamental human rights.
The suit names the Minister of Interior, the Narcotics Control Commission, NACOC, the FBI, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, and the Attorney General as respondents. According to him, his arrest on December 11, 2025 subjected him to physical and psychological distress amounting to torture and inhumane treatment, contrary to Article 15 of the 1992 Constitution. His court documents indicated that over 15 armed officers stormed his apartment in the airport's residential area while he was playing video games with friends, claiming that he was immediately handcuffed and restrained from morning until late evening without access to food, water, or rest. A key allegation in the suit involved the FBI. Abutrika asserted that while in Ghanaian custody, he was interrogated coercively by 3 foreign nationals identified as FBI agents, raising concerns over foreign interference in the case. The applicant further claimed that law enforcement officers seized a large number of luxury items and electronics, including a Lamborghini, a Mercedes, a Cybertruck, multiple iPhones models 7 to 15 Pro, MacBooks, and Alienware laptop, a PlayStation 5 console, a Starlink Wi-Fi modem, Cartier watches, jewelry, and silver chains. However, he revealed that many of the seized items belonged to his friends and no inventory or receipts were provided. Abutrika also accused EOCO of violating his presumption of innocence by publicly labeling him a notorious cyber criminal in a news release before any judicial determination of guilt. Through the lawsuit, Abutrika has demanded compensation of 10 million Ghana cedis from NACOC, FBI, and EOCO for the mistreatment, invasion of privacy, and emotional distress.
Away from the law court, let's go straight to the business desk, where the Ghana National Cocoa Farmers Association has called on the Ghana Cocoa Board to meet its payment obligation to farmers without further delay, insisting that assurance alone are no longer sufficient.
The demand comes despite Cocoa Board's assurances that measures are being taken to resolve the payment delays as soon as possible. The board has also said it is exploring a new funding model for cocoa purchases with an emphasis on value addition rather than continued dependence on the export of raw cocoa beans. Speaking in an interview on Monday, February 9, the president of the association, Stevenson Anani-Boateng, expressed strong dissatisfaction with Cocoa Board's handling of the situation. We are not satisfied at all because from the way things are going, Cocoa Board should have done their homework. This is an unfair business they are doing with us. It is not just that everybody thinks it is the government. Cocoa Board, under the contract, mandates us, the cocoa farmers, not to sell our produce to anybody else. So they know very well that at the beginning of every major season, this is something they are going to face. What measures did the CEO put in place? He said. The association maintains that timely payments are critical to sustaining cocoa farming livelihoods and has urged Cocoa Board to move beyond promises and deliver immediate relief to affected farmers.
Away from the business desk, we'll move straight to the international front, where Ethiopia's foreign ministers accused neighboring Eritrea of military aggression and of supporting armed groups inside Ethiopian territory amidst growing tension between the neighbors.
The two long-standing foes had waged war against each other between 1998 and 2000, but signed a peace deal in 2018 and became allies during Ethiopia's two-year war against regional authorities in the northern Tigray region. But Eritrea was not a party to the 2022 agreement that ended the Tigray conflict. The relations between the two nations have plunged into acrimony since then. In recent months, Addis Ababa has accused Eritrea of supporting rebel fighters on Ethiopian soil, allegations Asmara denies. In a letter dated Saturday, February 7, Ethiopian Foreign Minister Gideon Timothewos told his Eritrean counterpart Osman Saleh Mohammed that Eritrean forces had occupied Ethiopian territory along parts of their shared border for an extended period. He also accused Eritrea of providing material support to armed groups operating inside Ethiopia. The incursions of Eritrean troops further into Ethiopian territory are not just provocations, but acts of outright aggression, the letter said. Timothewos demanded that Asmara withdraw its troops from Ethiopian territory and cease all forms of collaboration with rebel groups. He also said that Ethiopia remained open to dialogue if Eritrea respected its territorial integrity. He said Addis Ababa was willing to engage in good faith negotiations on all matters of mutual interest, including maritime affairs and access to the Red Sea through the Eritrean port of Assab. Eritrea, which gained independence in 1993 after decades of armed conflict with Ethiopia, has, however, bristled its repeated public declarations by Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed that his landlocked country has a right to sea access. Many in Eritrea, which lies in the Red Sea, view his comments as an implicit threat of military action.
And that's how we end this morning's Mega News at 6. But before we take leave, we move straight away to the Weather Center. In association with the Ghana Meteorological Agency, we'll bring you the weather and its updates. Cloudy weather is expected for most parts of the southern Ghana in the early hours of this morning, amidst mist and fog patches. However, few cases of showers are anticipated to affect the coastline and inland areas. Mostly sunny conditions will prevail across the country, with the likelihood of localized thunderstorms or rain over parts of the coast and middle sectors during the afternoon hours. Slightly hazy conditions will affect parts of the south, whilst the northern sector remain dry and hazy throughout the forecast period. Now, the temperatures for the next 24 hours, the coast sector will experience a minimum of 24 degrees and a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius. The forest zones, 23 degrees minimum and a maximum of 36 degrees. Transition, a minimum of 21 degrees and a maximum of 38 degrees. Northern sector, a minimum of 22 degrees, a maximum of 39 degrees. From this week, daytime temperatures will have a gradual increase across the country. And as a weather update for the next 24 hours brought to you in association with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. The news continue, but before we take leave of you, a recap of our headlines.
Mind your business. Ayawaso East NDC executives to majority. In business, we need payments, not assurances. Cocoa farmers to Cocoa Board. And on the international front, Ethiopia demands Eritrea immediately withdraw troops from its territory.
For more news, log on to MBN 360. Also, don't forget the news came to you live from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension. We're also live on our social media handle X, YouTube, and Facebook on NBN 360. My name is El Samuels. Up is a sports update. Stay with us.
Pastors will be promoted and others will not be promoted. Don't cry, not because your bishop hates you, but because we are playing an international tournament and we don't look for those who are not ready. We are looking for leaders. That is why we have gathered.
When you are talking to the young people, they don't understand, because the God of this world has blinded them. How much time do you give to God? Your time for God shows how you honor God.
You will not travel far and go back